Hello fellow water shooters, I'm Dave from Liquid Eye Water Housing Systems, and I'm going to talk about what causes fogging and give you some advice about prevention of fog. We hear a lot of stories here and there about fog in a water housing. Many of these are told by some who don't really understand fog, and even though some of their methods work, they aren't necessarily the best way to get rid of fog. At Liquid Eye Water Housing Systems, we understand what causes a housing to fog, and we want to educate you on this according to our experience. So, what is fog? Fog is caused by the evaporation of water turning to gas, and at the contact of a colder surface, it condensates, creating thousands of micro droplets that cause fog and block the transparency of glass. What causes fog in a water housing? Fog is mainly caused by the presence of water in a sealed housing. A sealed housing will increase the buildup of fog because this is a closed environment, especially with an extra important factor, which is heat. Heat generated by cameras are one of the main factors in causing fog. A water housing presents the perfect place to generate fog, and there are three factors: moisture, a confined environment, and heat. In those three factors, there are two which we can't avoid. The closed environment, of course, you don't want a non-sealed housing, and the heat, because each time you use your camera, it'll generate heat, unless you keep your camera's power off. Also, some cameras are subject to produce more heat than others. But even with extreme heat, if the air trapped in a closed shell is dry, you'll not get fog, and that's a guarantee. So now you can see where we want to lead you, the third factor. This is the one you want to fight: moisture. Moisture can be present in several forms in a water housing. You can have small droplets of seawater you didn't see that fell in the housing when you opened it. One or two droplets could be enough to cause fog, so be extremely cautious when you open your housing. Use a towel if necessary to dry the inside of your water housing and get rid of all the possible droplets. You can also have fog if you have a leak. Even a very small leak will allow drops of water to get inside your housing, and it'll cause fog. Fog can be a good sign or a symptom to indicate you have a leak in your housing. So it's important to check your seals, O-rings, keeping them free from debris and anything which could cause their deterioration. And finally, and this is the most common cause, you don't have droplets, you don't have a leak, but you still have a fog. Why? Because you trap humid air in your water housing. It's extremely difficult to get rid of moisture that's in the form of humidity. The best way is to try to decrease the percentage of humidity you have in your housing before you seal it. Humidity is a very perfidious thing. It's vaporous, making it difficult to locate, and it's present in every tiny corner of everything, even in your camera body. Since you'll enclose your camera body in the housing, you also need to keep your camera as dry as possible. The best way to fight humidity is with hot air. Hot air is avid of humidity, and eating at every single damp atom is its mission. If you live in a high humidity area such as the tropics, it's pretty much impossible to get rid of humidity. But you can lower the amount just by exposing everything to direct sunlight, wide open, lens, camera, open housing, for about 10 minutes. It will eliminate a lot of moisture, especially the moisture trapped in your camera body and inside the lens. If the weather isn't sunny but you want to shoot anyway, you can use a hair dryer and blow hot air into your housing, as well as directly onto your camera and lens, but it'll take a little longer. You can then seal your camera and lens inside the heated housing and add a reactivated silica gel bag. Don't worry if when you seal your housing, if everything is hot. The heat will eventually go away, but the air you trapped in the water housing will be as dry as you can get. Plus, the added reactivated silica gel bag will maintain very dry air inside the housing. So what is a reactivated silica gel? Silica gel bags are reusable for a very long time, almost infinitely. You can reactivate silica gel desiccant by heating it in an oven at 250 degrees Fahrenheit or 120 degrees Celsius for a couple hours to evaporate previously absorbed moisture. This should work with any desiccant as long as it's silica gel, which should be pretty much all of the ones that come in a small beanbag-like pouch, included with perishable goods. There are also several videos online demonstrating this process. I've even seen microwaves used, but haven't tried this method myself. We've heard of photographers who insist on using the air conditioning method. This could work because it tends to dry the air, but it's a longer process, and most of the AC air will be cold. When you go outside and the air is hot and humid, it'll attract even more moisture in a very short time because of the gap of temperature. If you want to use this method, you'll need to perfectly seal your housing before going outside. Although good, we found this method less effective than the direct sun method. Alright, so this is Liquid Eye's recommendation to avoid fog in your water housing. We hope you'll find this trick useful and can use it with your housing successfully. Give it a try and leave us a comment below with your results and any questions you might have. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button below to get notified of more tutorials. And as always, happy shooting!